Hello and welcome, it's Sharon here from Mumsy Warrior and the date is the 17th of March 2022. School facial recognition. Very risky. I worked in a school canteen when my small business got attacked by evil British academic pervert elites. So I had to take a low paid salary and work in a school canteen for a while. I worked there for about a year and a half or something like that. I can tell you from experience that you do not need facial recognition in schools to get a school meal. I think you'll know that yourself from actually going through the school system. You just don't need to put your children at risk this way, especially when we have a multi-billion pound industry in human trafficking. That's something we really need to look at, discuss, and solve this problem. I'm going to share with you the video I made this morning about why we've got so many problems in this country and what we need to do. We need to complain to our MPs. You need to write to your MP. You need to put it in writing and have a paper trail of your complaint. Otherwise, nothing will ever get done about this. Hello and welcome, it's Sharon here from Mumsy Warrior and the date is the 17th of March 2022 and here's our complaint. I was speaking to a grandmother in the park recently. She told me how concerned she was about her grandchildren because they are now scanning children's faces to get a school lunch. When you just look at the world today and how bad things are, is it any wonder parents are concerned? I'm going to put a few links in the description so you can check out the news articles yourself where Dr. Glenn Wilson believes that pedophiles should be working in our schools. How bizarre is that? And how strange that all of a sudden we've got facial recognition in our schools. I think parents really need to wake up.
In 1978, the group agreed to let psychologist Dr. Glenn Wilson meet and study their members. The experience was to become the basis of his book, The Child Lovers.
In terms of personality, they were not obviously psychotic or even excessively neurotic. They were a little bit on the introvert, shy, awkward. Because what was unusual about this project was that it was a group of paedophiles who were functioning in society. They were not yet in jail or being treated by the psychiatric services.
The book suggests, first of all, you say they were happy to talk to you because you didn't condemn them. You say that at that point, at the time of writing, that research shows no lasting harm to the sexual and social development of children. Do you still believe that?
It's extremely difficult to prove that a non-rape encounter between an older man and a teenage boy of 14 or 15 does any very great lasting harm.
We know of the prevalence of suicide among people who've been abused as children. Do you not think that the evidence exists that this is harmful?
Not scientific evidence. You get anecdotal evidence, and you get people who are trying to increase their compensation claims by claiming that they were totally traumatized by being touched up by a priest.
And you don't believe that there was trauma?
I think people come forward for a variety of reasons. Sometimes they have been traumatized. Sometimes they are attention-seeking, and that this is a famous person, and they would quite like to be seen as having been connected with them.
I wrote to my female government MP, and she got this disgusting Lego bondage image taken off the internet. These people, or person, whoever they are, used our daughter's YouTube Lego name to overtake her in the search engines, or to try and overtake her in the search engines. And they were getting away with it. I tried to complain myself. Of course, I got nowhere, because as a woman and as a mother, I'm not respected as a human being in this world, because disgusting elite academic perverts get away with promoting children and women as objects, sex objects for sale. It's as simple as that, and this needs to stop right now. Here are some images of a child's brain. As you can see, the brain of a child does not fully develop until they're aged 20 to 25. 20 to 25. So why is our state education system teaching your children about sex? Because I see this as grooming. It is invasive. They're taking away a child's right to be a child, and we need to discuss this and sort this problem out. You need to watch a video and ask yourself, why did Dr. Judith Reisman win a court battle in Croatia against sex education? She won because she proved the founder of sex education, Kinsey the monster pervert, was actually promoting paedophilia. This is a message to the UK government. I want student prostitution and the promotion of it in our universities and in our media stopped at once. I want it banned.
The money. I went to several mental health institutions for support, and they turned me away because I was a sex worker, even though I begged them to help me stop. I had no family to help me. I was just completely alone with it and struggling so much. I remember there was one time where there was a glass of water in front of me and I couldn't get up to get the water. And I was getting turned away by the end of it because I was just, I couldn't do it. I wasn't up to the job. And
here we have this new news channel, GB. Basically, I mean, I feel that the presenter's promoting sex work for medical students in this video. I don't know, it's just really bizarre.
I'm delighted to welcome Richard Lucas, leader of the Scottish Family Party. Now, I know that you understand, you feel, James, this to be a complex issue. So what is your view about trainee doctors doing sex work? Is it a good or a bad thing?
I'm very much on the fence with this one, Mark. To be honest with you, I left healthcare before I started doing OnlyFans because it didn't sit right with me, purely because of the image of what society has on it. It seems wrong, and maybe with the issues of families and clients and the problems that may arise with that, it's just opening up a whole can of worms with dealing with families. And when I was working in healthcare, it was just quite an issue. So I totally understand why not, but also it's a bigger issue with sex workers and how we're perceived.
Yes, I mean, clearly, there are many medical students who face major financial challenges just handling, the cost of being a student. And sex work, it's perhaps an attractive option to some of them. I mean, can you blame them for doing it just for the money, James?
And this is exactly sort of what I was saying earlier. It's how can we blame them? I mean, on the money they're being paid, they're students, they've got very small budgets. Where else do they go? It's McDonald's, £8 something an hour. It's totally understandable. I saw this as a longer term work for me, so I made the decision to leave and then start. But then there's some people that just need the extra money, whilst they're studying. So it is understandable.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's a very sort of challenging situation if you find yourself having to sell your body for sex. But Richard Lucas, leader of the Scottish Family Party, it's a reasonable alternative to making hamburgers in McDonald's, isn't it? Showing people your babs.
Well, no, for lots of reasons. I think it's really important that the medical profession is held in high esteem. I mean, we put our life in their hands routinely. So if someone engages in what's widely seen as such grossly disreputable behaviour, that's just not compatible with maintaining the profile that the medical profession needs to uphold.
I mean, I'm not sure, Richard, whether I care if I'm treated by a doctor in A&E that they've, I don't know, performed an erotic display online earlier in the day. If they saved my life, they saved my life.
I think it's an insight into the person's
I find that bizarre.
It's Sharon here from Mumsy Warrior, and the date is the 23rd of October 2021, and today I'm going to speak about student prostitution. This is sickening, it really is, and the thing that really upsets me is the way universities are promoting this in the UK. They're actually promoting student prostitution to get an education. When my daughter was very young, we went to the library and I was absolutely shocked and horrified because in the children's reading section there was a lottery magazine, and on the front cover it had a picture of a prostitute and information about how students are now earning a living to pay for their education. Now, this magazine actually promoted high wages and less hours for student girls to sell their bodies to dirty, filthy old men to pay for their education. I took this lottery magazine to my local MP, who was a male MP at the time. This is going back quite a few years. And he said to me, the student girls are old enough to be prostitutes. As a mother, there's no way on earth I would send our daughter to a university that promotes student prostitution and expects teenagers to fund their education by selling their bodies to dirty old men, probably dirty old MPs by the sounds of it. Parents really need to research Dr. Judith Reisman, because she came to the UK and she's the only person that stopped paedophile information exchange from trading. They traded for 10 years in the UK and not one government tried to stop them. That's how sick and perverted the UK is. And she's nowhere to be seen in the media. But I got to liaise with her and she sent me her witness statement against the academic elite paedophile lobby. And she told me, when I told her about this article here in the lottery, she said quite clearly, and it's the same university by the way, she said it's definitely paedophile run. So protect your girls, speak out about this and stop this perversion, because I can't do this on my own. We need to talk about it, debate it and make complaints to MPs and get some petitions going. So if anybody's willing to help, I'd love to hear from you. That's all from me, Sharon J. Bainbridge from Mumsy Warrior, and I hope to speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Mumsy Warrior here. Just want to have a quick chat about sex education history and a debate. I'd love you to leave comments below, or parents to leave comments below really. And I love being a kid. I really adored it. I mean, I was lucky enough to grow up in the 60s and 70s, etc. And I got to play and make my pies and act like a child and be a child. So when I went to school and I was taught sex education in school at 10 years old, I really questioned adults and what their thinking was there, because I didn't want it and I wanted to know, and I still want to know, did my mum and dad get a letter asking if they're allowed to teach me this muck? Because it is muck. Children are not ready to learn about that sort of thing until they're a certain age, and they need to learn about it. Anyway, the history of it just is mind-boggling. 20th June 2020, Daily Mail. Outrage as pedophiles rebrand themselves as minor attracted persons in chilling online propaganda drive. Anonymous users have even gone so far as to create their own rainbow pride flag. So there you have it. This is scary stuff, and I just want you to watch some of the information that I've gathered over the years on the history on paedophile information exchange is very, very tragic and scary indeed. So I hope you guys will leave comments below.
Okay, so I've been liaising with Dr. Judith Reisman. She has a PhD and is from the Law University out in the USA, and this lady is an absolutely amazing child activist who's been fighting for a long, long time to protect children, mothers and families against the porn industry, and which actually sadly is linked to paedophilia. I say sadly, I mean I hate porn, I really hate it. Ask your local authorities these questions. Number 1, why did Dr. Judith Reisman, PhD from the Law University, win a court case in Croatia against Kinsey's sex education in all our state schools? She proved sex education is paedophile run.
Sexology and sex education is grounded in the work of Dr. Alfred Kinsey. And that has, of course, been my focus over the years. Dr. Kinsey, here you have the Kinsey Report, 6 Types of Orgasm, and I have the book right here. This is Kinsey's book right here, okay? And anyone is welcome to turn to chapter 5. I will earmark the pages that are relevant. I will read from Kinsey's own book. And this becomes the foundation of your human sexuality education curricula, which is being promoted through Dr. Stollhofer, who trained at the Kinsey Institute. So the interlocking relationship between what is said here and what Mr. Stollhofer has not criticized this, has not brought this to the attention of the public. And I will show you, I will say, okay, pre-adolescent experienced an orgasm, age when observed, a 2-month-old baby. Do you all hear me then? Age when observed for orgasm, a 2-month-old baby. For climax, one, they call it a population. Then they talk about the climax of this baby. The baby didn't have the appropriate climax. A 5-month-old baby, 2 of them, one had a climax up to 1 year. 28 of these children are under age 12 months. We're talking about, and the underneath, ages of pre-adolescent orgasm based on, now this is supposed to be science, based on actual observation of 317 males. All of these are children being sexually molested, timed around the clock, because we have their times here, used with a stopwatch, around the clock right there, and I'll earmark this for you so we can pass this around. Table 34, a 5-month-old baby allegedly has 3 orgasms. Excuse me, but are we all clear on what an orgasm is here? Do I have to go into that? No? All right. So, orgasm, as we have understood it, relates to the sexual climax, basically, of adults who know how to experience what they're experiencing and who had been identified as, having this as a function, usually, of a relationship between a woman and a man in a marital structure, all that sort of thing. Well, here we're talking about a 5-month-old baby. We're talking about a 4-year-old, and you need to look at this in the original book, that I am not creating something out of whole cloth, because when I looked at it, my first question was, when Kinsey says, examples of multiple orgasms in pre-adolescent males, some instances of higher frequencies. I looked at a 4-year-old supposed to have 26 orgasms in 24 hours. And as a mother, much less a scientist, that's an experiment around the clock. Is it not? And I said, who did it? Who did this? Because I knew Dr. Alfred Kinsey founded the Kinsey Institute at Indiana University, where Dr. Stollhofer trained, and founded the field of human sexuality and human sexuality education. And there is no debate about that. The Kinsey Institute has recently, would you pull one of those out so I can tag this? The Kinsey Institute recently published a book called Kinsey, the Man Who Changed the World. Based upon my analysis, I would restate that, and I would say Kinsey, the pedophile who changed the world. Because, let me explain, after all of these torturous experiences are defined here in his book, which shaped the world's opinion on sex, the whole field of sex then came out of this. There was no field of human sexuality before Kinsey. There was medical advice, there were parents, there was church, there was Bible, that sort of thing. There was no field. Kinsey created the field and then trained the people who became the purveyors of that ideology and that belief system. So I said, okay, wait a minute. We have all these children allegedly having orgasms. What does he define as an orgasm? I need another little stick. Thank you. 7 minutes, right, okay. Is this, okay, there we go. And on pages 160 and 161, you will see that what you see up there, summarized. Kinsey said in this book that the children enjoyed this sexual violence that was inflicted upon them. It's right here, in his own words. Mengele was an example of this sort of thing, and we all know how to treat Mengele. And we do not build institutes based on Mengele. And we do not train people to engage in activities that Mengele engaged in. And we do not give them PhDs and allow them to go around the world training other people in Mengele's methodologies. This is our form of that kind of thing. And what Kinsey defined as an orgasm is summarized for you there. He said there were 6 types of orgasm. He's talking about 196 pre-adolescent boys are the sources of these percentage figures. He talks about extreme tension, violent convulsions. He talks about hysterical talking, crying. He talks about children, especially when the younger children, they're hysterical and they're weeping. And he talks about extreme trembling. And then he says pain, frightened at the approach of orgasm. And then he says he gives percentages for that. And he concludes they derive definite pleasure from the situation. That's his conclusion. And my conclusion is that is a sadomasochistic pedophile describing that.
Number 2. Why did our higher education, the Swansea University, invite paedophile information exchange to promote child abuse? Note, Dr. Judith Reisman was an eyewitness to this corruption. Here's Dr. Judith Reisman's email. Wales, the start of the academic paedophile lobby. She sent me this email on the 10th of January 2015 because I questioned why the South Wales Evening Post had not printed her witness statement and why they had nothing about the paedophile sex education in there as well. So here's her response to me. She's got here, if you see here, I just received this email and here is my response. So that's the response to me. She's copied it to the South Wales Evening Post, all of them at the South Wales Evening Post, and none of them have replied. This shows how corrupt our newspapers are. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Anyway, so I'm going to read this out. Swansea University silent on 1970s paedophilia advocate by South Wales Evening Post, posted March 3, 2014. Swansea University has declined to comment on an invitation made to a notorious advocate for paedophilia to speak at a conference on its campus during the 1970s. It was reported that almost all 96 international academics attending signed a free speech petition saying the paedophile must speak and the staff must work. I was at that conference after I received my doctorate in communications in 1977. I did a research report on children, women and pornography that was accepted by the British Psychological Association's International Conference on Love and Attraction at the Swansea University, Wales. I was leaving London for Wales. News headlines announced that see Guardian article and the attached preface of my book, Yes, this was the origin of the academic paedophile lobby, and the conference organised knew it and planned it. Best Judith Reisman, PhD, Visiting Professor, Director, Liberty Centre for Child Protection, Liberty School of Law. So there you have it. There's the evidence, and I really hope that people can actually soften to the evidence instead of actually getting agitated and aggressive. We need to actually protect our children, stop protecting the elite, because the elite are behind this, and something needs to be done about it. So here we have the Guardian article Dr. Judith Reisman was mentioning. I mean, if you read here, taboo or not taboo, that says it all. I mean, what newspaper would actually promote this? And you've got here Playboy, a picture of this, you know, this image here, you know, teddy bears, childlike image. This is disgusting, and this is what Dr. Judith Reisman is actually talking about. So next up is this. If you go to www.southwales-uni-silent-python-story-2007-40740-detail/story.html, so it's a bit long-winded. You will come across this story by the South Wales Evening Post. Swansea University has declined to comment on an invitation made to a notorious advocate for paedophilia to speak. So parents, please leave comments below, and, you know, please share this information, even if you don't agree with it, because it's important.
Hi guys, so here's the Organic Gardening and Foraging Club. I'm going to be dropping the free, even though it is still free, because I don't think it's coming up in the search engines. It's getting confused. So yeah, you'll be able to find it on Facebook. Here's the link here. So try that link, and if that doesn't work, then just drop the free before the organic. And I'd love to see you there. Chris from Nana's Naturals, one of my dear friends, I call her sister. She has yeah, her own herbal business, and she mentioned about sort of writing down seeds, you know, that you've got that you want to swap, trade, whatever. So yeah, do send them in on the group, and love to hear from you and see what you've got and what you want to share, etc., and what you want to find. So that's great. So yeah, take care and have a great week.